Hello and welcome all of you friends. So today once again I have brought one more knowledgeable video for all of you, and today we are going to discuss related with the another important concept and practical approach related with the IICS, that is the Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services. So today we are going to study about how to extract the metadata using the REST API services in case of the IICS. So before we start with the discussion related with the metadata extraction using the REST API in the IICS. So you should have the knowledge and you should have the understanding of what is REST API, what is Postman tool, all these things. Okay. So if you have not seen my previous video related to the Postman and the REST API, then first you should watch the video related with the REST API and Postman. Then it will be easy for you to understand the concept of metadata extraction using the REST API. Also, in the previous video, we have seen uh, by using the REST API how we can trigger the task flow or the workflow in case of the IICS. So this is my channel, IndiBuzzer Technical Solution. Okay, here you can see IndiBuzzer Technical Solution. And if you go to the content and uh, under the content, if you go to the playlist, you will find the videos related with the IICS. Here you can see, and in that you can see the video related with the what exactly the Postman and API. Here you can see this is the video. So you will get the clear idea about what is the Postman and REST API services. Then it will be easy for you to understand the uh, how we can extract the metadata using the REST API in the IICS. Okay. So first, let's understand what exactly is the metadata. So metadata is nothing but the data about data. In short, the information about the particular some data or the uh, anything. Okay. So related with the IICS, what exactly is the metadata? So in case of the IICS, metadata is nothing but in case of the IICS, whatever asset we develop inside the IICS. So this is my IICS platform. So whatever the mapping we develop, whatever the workflow we develop, whatever the connection we develop and create, whatever the session we create. So information related with that, like name of the mapping, name of the session, uh, name of the connection, name of the tables, source table, or maybe a target table. So these all the things comes under the metadata related with the IIC. So here I have mentioned the metadata elements are nothing but the mapping name, session name, connection name, third party connector name, source object like the source table name, target table name, etc. So these are nothing but the metadata related with the IICS. Okay. Now, so if you have worked in the traditional ETL tool like Informatica Power Center. So in case of the Informatica Power Center, uh, there is a database access was there. Okay. So as you are having the database access, so directly using the SQL, you can get the metadata information in case of the Informatica Power Center. So, but if you see in case of the IICS, we don't have the direct access to the database because IICS is entirely in the cloud. Okay. The same thing I have mentioned here. Unlike the traditional on-premises Power Center setups, where metadata is stored in the local database. In case of the Power Center, the particular metadata, as I as we have already discussed, is stored on the local database, and where you can see the local database can easily access through the SQL queries. But IICS operates entirely in the cloud, and we don't have the direct database access. Direct database access. Okay. So instead, the Informatica have provided us the REST API to access the metadata programmatically. Okay. So in this video, the same thing is explained. like how to fetch or query the metadata information from the Informatica Intelligent Cloud Service environment using the REST API services. Okay. So in this video, we specifically cover the four key areas like retrieving the connection information, whatever the connection created, retrieving the third-party connectors, whatever the third-party connectors are created by the user or a particular developer, and also we will see what different mappings are created within IICS environment. Also, we will see how to fetch the different mapping tags of the session created within the IICS environment. Okay, so this will be the agenda of our video. Okay, so talking further about this, we will follow the further steps, specific steps, and with the help of that step, it will be clear that how we can extract the metadata easily using the REST API in the IICS. So this video will walk through the process of authenticating via the login API to obtain the server URL and the session ID, which are essential for making the subsequent API call. Okay. So as I said, here we have to make the use of Postman. So Postman is a free API testing tool. So we'll see how to send the Postman post call and the get call to retrieve the metadata such as the connection name, mapping task name, etc. Okay. So this each type of metadata, whatever the metadata we have discussed, is accessible via the specific API endpoint under the data integration service version 2 of the REST API. Okay. So we'll go step by step. So as I said, there is a prerequisite is there that you should have the knowledge of Postman and the what is exactly the REST API, because we'll fetch this metadata by making the API calls, okay, to the IICS environment. So let's go by step. So first step and the first and most important requirement is what? If you want to fetch the metadata in IICS, we need the 2-3 important things. So first here you can see we need the IC session ID, and then we need the service URL, and plus we need the service UI also, service URI. Okay, that service URI is specific to the particular metadata. Like suppose if you want to fetch the metadata related with the mapping, and service URI for the mapping will be different, service URI for session will be different, and service URI for connection and the connector will be the different. So service URI is nothing but the extension to the service URL. So what exactly that I will show you practically. Okay. So I hope you have understood what we need to get the metadata extraction. First thing, we need the IC session ID, and then we need the service URL and the service URI. Okay. Now, in order to get the service, in order to get the IC session ID and the service URL, we need to make the API calls using the post method. Okay. So using the post method, we will make the API call, and then we will get the IC session ID and the service URL. Okay. So in order to make the API call to get the IC session ID and the service URL, we have to use the login URL and some authentication part. Okay, so this will be the authentication part that we will configure in the Postman. Okay, so in the authentication, as I said, we have to authenticate with the IICS environment. So you have to give the username of the IICS and the password. Okay, and also we have to provide the IICS login URL. Okay, so where you will get the login URL? So you must have installed the IICS on your laptop or the computer. So after that, you should have received the one particular login URL. So this is my login URL which I have received. So this you can just copy, and so here I am pasting it. Now to this login URL, you have to add the specific API extension. So this is a standard one. So you can use this extension as it is, but this URL might be different for you. Okay, based on the what kind of region you have chosen for the IICS. So this last extension you can add as it is. So this is nothing but our service URL. Okay. Now we have to configure this service URL in the Postman, and also we have to configure the header body of the Postman. Okay, so this is my Postman tool. So in my IICS videos, also I have mentioned about how to install the Postman, how to use the Postman. Sorry, so you can go there and you can see. So here you have to post your paste your login URL. Now here we have to use the post method, because post method means what? Here we are sending something to the IICS environment, and then IICS will send us the response. So likewise, there are the different methods of the Postman here to make the API calls. Like post, there is a gate also. So in our next part, we will use the gate. But here we are sending the some information to the IICS. That's why we are using the post method. And with whenever the IICS will get that request, the IICS will send us the response. So in case of this call, the IICS will send us the IC session ID and the service URL. Okay. Now, as I said, we have to add the authentication part here. Okay. So here you have to add the authentication. So authentication part is nothing but the details of your authentication credentials. Okay. So here I am adding this. Okay. Then in the header part also, here you have to mention the these two headers. Okay, I will explain what is the meaning of this header. So accept in meaning of this is what in which format the request will be accepted by the IICS. Okay, so here we are mentioning application JSON. So in the JSON format, the request will be accepted by the IICS, and in the same format only the IICS will send us the response. Okay. Now this is our first step. Why we are doing this? Because we need the IC session ID and the service URL. Why we need it? Because we have to extract the metadata using the REST API. And in order to make the further API calls, we need the IC session ID and the service URL. Okay. Now, once we configure this, just you have to click on the send. Okay. So we have configured this. Now I'm clicking on the send. Okay. Now you can see our API call is successful. Here you can see the 200 response we have got from the IICS environment, which says the request is successful. The service has responded as required. Now servers, in case of this, is nothing but our IICS environment. Now IICS environment has sent us the response in the JSON format only. Here you can see. So that's why content type we have mentioned the JSON. Okay. So this part you have to configure here. Now here you can see the two components we will be needing from this. First is the service URL, second is the IC session. So you have to just copy this part from here, and I'm just copying it, pasting it here, okay, for making the further API calls. Okay. Now we have got whatever we required. Now let's go to the slide, what I have mentioned next. So first step we have completed, like getting the IC session ID and the service URL. And this we have got using the login URL and making the post call using the Postman tool. Okay. Now next step is what? Next step here I have mentioned, use this IC session ID and the service URL to make the GET call. Okay. Now we have to make the GET call, GET API call. And for that also, we have to configure the header part, and we have to give the service URL. Now your service URL with the combination of this service URL plus some extended API part we have to add here. Now, what will be that extended API part? That I will explain here. Okay. Now, so let's make the further API call. Now, in order to make the further API call, I am just clicking on the plus button here. Okay. Now, here we have to use the GET method. Now, what URL we are going to provide here? Here we are going to provide the service URL which we have got earlier. Okay. Now, suppose I want to fetch the mapping name. Okay, I want to fetch all the mappings which I have created in the IICS environment. Okay. So For mapping, what will be your service URL then? So this part plus this extended part we have to use. So what that extended part? This API v2 and the API name. Okay. Now what API name we have to use, that I will explain you here. Okay. So this is our original service URL which we have got from the earlier API call. Okay. And this next extended part we have to add here. Now what will be the API name for the extracting the information related to the mapping? So it will be simply the mapping. Simply you have to mention here the mapping. Okay. So this will form your the service URL to fetch the metadata related with the mapping. And IC session ID already you have got, that I am putting here. So now in order to make the next API call to get the mapping metadata is ready. Suppose if you want to fetch the mapping task, so for that also the service URL will be same, only the API name will change, like mapping task. For that we have to mention the empty task, and here I am putting the IC session ID. Okay. Same thing is for the connection also. You know, to fetch the metadata information related with the connection, same URL we use and IC session we are using. Okay, only the this API name will change. Like here we want to fetch the connection information, so we'll mention here the connection. Same case related with the fetching the metadata related with the connector also. A connector in the sense what? Suppose you know IICS provide the by default some connectors. Okay, but suppose if you want to use some third-party connector, like for example, IICS don't provide uh, the Snowflake uh, connection related with the Snowflake connector in order to create the connection. Okay, now that we can install you within a IICS environment. Okay, let me show you what exactly the connector I mean. Okay, now if you go to the administrator part, now connector generally required when the IICS don't provide the by default connection service for some external database, like for example, database Snowflake. Okay. Now in that case, IICS has provided us the facility to install the third-party connector, and using that third-party connector, we can create the Snowflake connection. Okay. So same like this, we can have the multiple other connectors. Like we can have the connector for different kind of services. Okay, I will show you once this will get open. Now you can see here, we go to the connection. Okay. And if you go to create the new connection, okay. Now, if you go to the type of the connection, you can see these are the different type of the connection you can create. Okay. Now, apart from this connection, if you want to create the connection, then in that case, you have to install the connector. Now, I have already installed the connector of Snowflake. That's why you can see here the connection type Snowflake data cloud is available. Okay. Now, if you want to create some other connection, now for that case, you have to install the that connector. Okay. Now from here you can install the connector. So here you can see add-on connect option is given. Okay. Now if you go to the add-on connection, add-on connector, here you can see the different add-on connectors are available. Okay. So for example, as I said, IICS don't provide the doesn't provide the particular Snowflake connection related with things by default. In that case, you can install the Snowflake connector. Here you can see this Snowflake connector already I have installed. That's why it is not showing the option here. So if I would have not installed it here, you could see the install option here. Okay. Likewise, you can see the other connectors are also there. Okay. So if you want to get the information related with such connectors that are also available here. Okay. For example, here you can see the SAS connector. Okay. So this is actually not freely available. Some are freely available. For some you have to pay the extra amount. Okay. So likewise, now let's come to our main point: how to extract the metadata. Okay. So this all the information is ready now. Okay. Now what we have to do, we will just make the API calls one by one, and we'll see whether we are getting the metadata. Okay. Now I am making the first API call. So this is my service URL. Now this first API call is to fetch the metadata related with the mapping. So I have put the URL here, service URL. And as I said, we have to add the headers. Okay. So main header we have to add here is nothing but the IC session ID. Okay. Now what the IC session ID we have got here, that you have to just copy paste in the Postman tool. Okay. So I'm pasting it. Okay. And that's it. So you have to make the API call now. Okay. I am clicking on the send button. So now whatever response we have got from the IICS, I'm just copying it here. Now here you can see we have make the get call because we are expecting some information from the IICS here. We are extracting some information from the IICS. So what information we are extracting? We are extracting the mapping related information. So I have just copied that response from the IICS and I'm pasting it here. Now you can see here. So here we have got the name of the particular mappings which are already available in the IICS environment. Okay. Now here you can see this is the mapping which I have already created in the IICS. Some by default mapping name also given by the API call. So name in the sense this is nothing but the mapping name which is already available in the IICS environment. Okay, this is one. Then we have the this is one. Okay. Then we have the this one M salary. Then we have M info. Now when that mapping was created, updated, who created the owner of that who is the owner of that mapping created. Okay, so all the information related with the that mapping is being fetched by the API calls. You can see here. Now let's go to the IICS and see whether this kind of things are available the IICS or not. So here you can see M salary and info. These mappings I have created in the IICS, and same kind of information is written by the API call here. Okay. Now let's move forward and let's try to fetch the mapping task information. So for that, simply what you have to do, simply you have to use this service URL related with the mapping task, and you have to just paste here. Okay. And just send. Okay. I'm just copying this information response from the IICS and I'm pasting it here. So here you can see the API call response. We have got the name of session SM info, and we have got SM salary. So this information is available in our IICS. So here you can see SM info, SM salary, and when that particular session or mapping task was created, we have created it. Okay. And what is the encoding part of that? Okay, all the information we are getting here. Okay, here you can see. Okay, then let's go forward and let's see about the whatever the connections are available in the IICS environment, which is being created by the administrator or somebody else, whether we are getting the information or not. Okay, so I'm just copy pasting here the whatever the API call we have to make. So we have to make the API call related to the connection. So I have pasted it here and just I click on the send button. So API call will be made and IICS response will be sent back. So I'm just copy pasting this. Let me copy it and let me go to the notepad. Let's see what information we have got. So we have made the API call related with the connection. So let's see here it is saying there is a connection, flat file is available. Okay, one. Then all the information related with that connection is given here. Like what is the path of that flat file connection, what is the type of that, etc., etc. Who have created, whatever the small information related with the flat file connection. So as I said, metadata is nothing but the data about the data. So here that information related to the flat file connection is being given here. Okay, so data about the data. So here data about the flat file connection. Then it is saying there is another connection is there, that is the Oracle connection is created. Okay, and so here it is saying there are the two connections are there. One is the flat file, okay, and another is the Oracle connection. Okay, and related metadata information is given here, like code page, then the username, all the things are being mentioned, password, etc., etc. Okay, encrypted password, database name. So this whatever the information related to Oracle connection, like data about the data, it is being provided by the API call. Let's go to the IICS administrator part and see whether these connections are available. So you can see the flat file and the Oracle, these two connections are available, and our API call has responded us with the same thing. Okay. Now, last part we have to see whether we are getting the information related with the connectors. So as I said, I have already installed the connector of Snowflake. So let's see whether the API call is responding us the similar way. I'm copying this and making the API call. Okay, let me copy this. Now you can see by default connector is cloud integration hub, that is by default available. So that's why that is being shown here. And another connector which is already available, there is a WS consumer connector is also being there, and Snowflake related connector is also there. Here you can see. So in this way, you can fetch the different kinds of metadata using the Postman and REST API services. Okay. So I hope guys you have understood the how to extract the metadata using the REST API in case of IICS. Okay. So if you understood it, so please like and share and subscribe my channel. I'll also share this video with your friends who are working in the ETL field so that they will also get the clear idea about the how to extract the metadata using the REST API. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thanks all of you.